Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberker. For nearly a decade, relations between two regional heavyweights remained all but frozen. The last time an Egyptian president visited Turkey more than a decade ago, the region was a different place. But now, with Israel's war on Gaza nearing its one-year mark and a fast-changing landscape across key parts of Africa, the stakes were too high for Turkey and Egypt to ignore.
Türkiye ve Mısır'ın bölgesel barış ve istikrara katkıları
The contributions of Turkey and Egypt to regional peace and stability are of vital importance. In our meetings, we agreed to establish regular consultations to resolve regional issues, especially Gaza.
hususunda mutabık kaldık.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi met his Turkish counterpart in Ankara on Wednesday, the first visit by an Egyptian leader in 12 years. Apart from Gaza, the presidents also discussed tensions in the energy-rich Eastern Mediterranean, the conflicts in Libya and Syria, and the volatile situation in the Horn of Africa. After their one-on-one meeting, they oversaw the signing of 17 agreements, covering everything from defense cooperation to energy. Ankara and Cairo have seen their relations rapidly improve over the past year after Egypt's aid assistance following the February 6 earthquakes and President Erdogan's landmark visit to Egypt earlier this year. And for more on the Egyptian president's visit to Turkey, joining me now from Rome is Valeria Giannotta. She is the scientific director of the Observatory on Turkey at the International Political Studies Center. And from Istanbul, Uğur Yasin Asal. He's an associate professor at Istanbul Commerce University. A warm welcome to you both, and thanks for joining me on Straight Talk. So, Valeria, Egyptian President Sisi held talks with President Erdogan in Ankara on Wednesday in the first presidential level visit in 12 years. What are your key takeaways from this visit?
Yes, definitely. We have seen opening a new page at bilateral level and also with some regional repercussions as well. It has been a quite long process leading to a full normalization. It was started around 2020, 2021. And then among some diplomatic and intelligence contacts, finally we led to the first presidential visit of President Erdogan last February, on 14th of February 2024, and the first visit of President el-Sisi to Ankara on last Wednesday. Many topics actually are of mutual interest, and the contacts are at bilateral level, strengthening further the cooperation which is already on the table from trade, finance, also from logistics, healthcare, education, and so on. But also, I think the most thorny issues that both parties have entangled are related to the regional situation. Despite Libya and Turkey sometimes have been sitting from different sides in some critical areas, such as Libya, for example, they found actually common ground to come together and to overcome the frictions of their relations in honoring a spirit of a cooperative spirit. I would read all those dynamics basically as the changing regional and international environment as well, such as the Ukrainian war, also the pandemic, and lastly the Israel-Gaza war, considering them as the pushing factors in order to speed up the normalization between the parties.
So, Uğur, what did the decade-long row affect our region, and how will this new thaw impact the power balance in the wider region?
Yes, exactly. There were a lot of events that have occurred in this region, both the political, economic, and societal changes. Mostly it was started with Arab Spring, and its effects still ongoing on the region. Egypt and Turkey are the significant countries, both the regional powers for the security and the stability as well. This is why the partnership between the Egypt and Turkey very significant to normalize the region and to affect the mutual benefits for the two countries. And the next year will be the 100th anniversary of the diplomatic relations set with Turkey and Egypt. This is why these mutual relations needs to be enhanced, and it has started in this decade. Mostly the effects of this coup was unfortunately affected the relations, but the two countries are started to also try to normalize the region as well as decrease the effects of Israel-Gaza war. And also Libya, the other issues needs to strengthen these bilateral relations. This is why the two authorities are signed a new period and the normalization become a normal relations in the two countries, which has just before the 2013.
So, Valeria, what are the shared interests of both countries in the Horn of Africa? As we all know, they stand on the opposing sides in Libya. So the question is, how concerned are both countries about Libya as well as Ethiopia's deal with Somaliland?
Well, definitely there is a huge and shared need for supporting the stabilization process in Libya and in the Horn of Africa. Regarding to Libya, also there is the will of supporting the democratic process and the democratic transition in the country. Basically, still, we know that after 13 years of turmoils in Libya, these have created sort of spillover effect within Egypt and also Turkiye in terms of trade, in terms of finance as well. And also Egypt is the one who is suffering most because it shares 150 kilometers with Libya. So the direct spillovers are very concrete and severe. And also when it comes to the continental Africa, regarding to Somalia and Libya, there is again this urgent need of security and stabilization. Indeed, it's not a coincidence that Egypt has signed an agreement regarding defense with Somalia. And we all know that Turkey has been a long-standing security provider in Somalia. Of course, this agreement between Egypt and Somalia can have some repercussions on their already strained relations with Ethiopia. But when it comes to Turkey, we all know that Turkey has been quite active diplomatically in Africa, and also it can be considered as a valuable mediator in order to find a solution for the conflicts going on between the parts.
So, Uğur, how important has energy cooperation between Ankara and Cairo become now? And how will Egypt's energy deals with Greece and the Greek Cypriot administration be impacted moving forward? Are you expecting any dramatic changes?
I do expecting a changing, but it won't be a dramatically, but in a time that will be get its own position, because it is not an easy issue for Turkey to holistically accept the approaches of Egypt on the energy issue. But they have also changed their position. I mean, they agreed what the land, the sea land areas that Turkey has accepted, and it was a deal between the two countries. This is why also this will create a new page in this energy issue. But before these problems in the two countries, it was a significant problem between Egypt and Turkey. Why? Because in this decade, the Egypt supported the arguments of Greece in the northern part of Mediterranean Sea, but they now changed their position and try to be also part of the Turkey's arguments in this region. And also, I do argue that this approach is also strength part of this normalization, because the energy resources and the research facilities of Turkey in this region are like a red line of our Turkish foreign policy. But the Egyptian side are also accepting the Turkish arguments in this issue as well.
So, Valeria, Sisi, as we know, has significantly increased Egypt's arms purchases from Russia to diversify its sources and hopes to cultivate defense ties with Turkey. Could Ankara become a major arms supplier for Cairo?
Well, there are some margins for thinking that Ankara will deliver drones, as it has been already discussed before in Cairo and then in Ankara. And already we have seen that many of the last generation weapons, like the Urjet has been showed in a defense fair in Egypt. And also from the Turkey point of view, like strengthening the defense cooperation with Egypt will enable Turkey to arise as the main security provider in the African continent. We have seen already the deals with Somalia and also the selling the drones to Ethiopia and some other countries. So this will be an asset for Ankara without any doubt.
So, the Gaza war and Houthi attacks in the Red Sea have worsened Egypt's already ailing economy. So how would a comprehensive economic partnership between the two countries ease both countries' economic hardships, and what sectors are crucial when it comes to strengthening them?
These are some critical sectors between two countries, mostly the industrial goods and the chemical goods, which are very significant in the two countries, as well as automotive spare parts and some metal issues. And Turkish investments in Egypt has become more than $4 billion. And the two countries, the annual trade almost significantly raised. And here we have a target between the two countries, try to enhance the trade volume till $15 billion in 5 years. And most of these sectors have some opportunities because the number of the Egyptian population is so high, and mostly agricultural goods as well as the services to Egypt from Turkiye are become very popular. And also some destination parts of Egypt is also becoming popular for Turkish tourists to become in Egypt. And there are a lot of issues that try to support the commerce, and the political normalization will have a leverage on these trade ties, as well as societal integration and also political deepenings between two countries.
So, Valeria, how could both countries help stop the war in Gaza and rebuild the region?
Well, definitely they are on the same page when it comes to the stance on the genocide is going on in Gaza, and also the crimes that Israel is committing, also in terms of blocking the humanitarian aid, rather in the Rafah corridor than in Philadelphia corridor as well. Definitely in this new and revitalized spirit of cooperation, Egypt and Turkey, that have been arising as the main supporter of negotiations rounds, can create more rooms for putting pressures on Israel and on the international community as well, and also to reach a ceasefire and to stabilize as much as possible the situation, and then eventually to think to rebuild actually what has been distracted in Gaza. But I think the first priority nowadays, as also has been reiterated by President Erdogan, is the humanitarian aid. Turkey has been one of the main leading humanitarian actors in terms of sending aid to Gaza, but unfortunately the humanitarian aid has been blocked by Israel in the corridors. So there is this humanitarian emergency going on in Gaza and in Palestine as well. And the first urgent need actually is to help the people that they are still trapped in those lands.
All right, Valeria and Uğur, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.